So, I am going to teach you right now one of the most powerful healing techniques there is. And it's something that anybody can do and anybody can learn. And you don't need any special talent or any special education. And I'm going to give it to you right now. And my name is John Moore. I am a shamanic practitioner and teacher from the state of Maine. And I want to talk to you about the sacred art of holding space or holding sacred space for people. And in essence, what you are doing is nothing. And this sounds weird, and it sounds like maybe I've tricked you into watching a video where I talk about doing nothing, but there's a little bit more to that. So one of the things when I teach in a group setting is most of the people who come to learn shamanism are very interested in the well-being of others, and they tend to be good-hearted people who want to learn how to heal themselves and how to heal others, and very frequently they're connected to nature, and they're very empathetic people. And in shamanic training, what can happen is a lot of emotion can come up. It's happened countless times for me. Been almost overwhelmed emotionally. That can happen. And people's first instinct, because they're good people and they're well-meaning people, is to go rescue that person, is to go sympathize with that person, to talk to them, to offer them help, that sort of thing. And in Circle, we don't rescue people. And it's not because we're cruel, and it's not because we're not compassionate. Quite the opposite. What we do is we do something called holding sacred space, in which we sit primarily silently with the person as they're experiencing these emotions, as these emotions are coming up. And what we're doing while that person is doing that is dropping all judgment. It doesn't matter what they say, what comes up for them. You're holding space for them, meaning I am validating that you're a human being who is going through difficult times, and I don't need to say anything or do anything. The most we would do is maybe hand somebody some tissues if they were crying. But we don't go, oh, you poor thing, do you need me to get you a glass of water? Whatever. There's a few reasons for this. The most important reason for this is being witnessed, being held in a non-judgmental space while these powerful, sometimes uncomfortable emotions come up, is in itself very healing. Because so often we hold down our emotions because we're not allowed to express them, or we don't feel like we're allowed to express them because it's uncomfortable. We don't want to make other people uncomfortable. We don't want to be judged by other people. So if I can sit with you as powerful emotions come up and not make you feel like you have to push those down to be accepted by me, because I love you in the true sense of that word. Not talking about romantic love, and I'm not talking about I love you, man. I'm talking about I love you as a human being. I fully accept that you're having a human experience. And there's no judgment for that. There is no judgment. So I sit and I just hold witness. Sympathy is a tough one. A lot of people confuse sympathy with empathy. Right. I may empathize in that I will feel a part of what you're feeling coming up. But I don't put my needs before yours. I don't say, oh, this is really hard for me. It's not about me. It's about you. It's about you experiencing. And so when I sit in circle with a class, I teach them about holding space for one another. And some people, sometimes I have people who are therapists in my class, and they get it. Like, they understand, because this is a significant portion of what they do in their therapeutic relationships. And so they understand the healing power of this. So when I explain this, and there are people in circle with me who are therapists, they're like, oh, yeah, okay. But most of us are not therapists. Most of us have not gone through that. And And again, your instinct to help somebody, to make them feel better, to comfort them, is a noble one. That's a good-hearted instinct. But you can have a good-hearted instinct and still be doing somebody a disservice. Shamanic healing is all about empowerment. Whether you work with me as a student or you work with me as a client, I'm all about lifting you up and holding you in your and showing you your power and having you step into your power. It's not about me. It's not about I can heal you. I'm some, magic person with a magic wand and, whatever. It's not about that. My entire job is to help you find the power that you already have and help you restore that. I'm not doing that. I'm a guide. That's it. That's all I'm doing. It's my job to get out of the way. Guides don't stand in your way. Okay. And so that's how I view my position, both as a teacher and as a healer, as a guide people through sacred experiences so they can witness their own power, so they can heal, or they can help others, or they can, develop spiritually, that sort of thing. So it can be extremely difficult at first if you are not used to holding space for people who are going through stuff. And it can take practice, because if we're not used to it, and I'm a helper, right? I'm a person who wants to help, to jump in with advice, that sort of thing. So one really useful way that you can use this in your day-to-day life, whether you don't have to be a healer to use this. Again, this is something anybody can do. This is not therapy that you need a license for. This is just the way that we listen to others with compassion and check in on them and care about them and allow them to be who they are, which includes sometimes experiencing painful experiences. And yeah, when we care about people, we want to take the pain away from them. And so we want to help. But often what we're doing is we're actually prolonging the pain. When we set a space where we're like, oh, you shouldn't feel bad, or don't feel bad, or we're discouraging people from processing their emotions. I know it can be hard to see that, and it can be hard to see that again because you're a good-intentioned person. You're a loving person. You're a kind and compassionate person. And to you, and this is a hard lesson for me to learn. So I don't expect everybody to just take my word for it, but very difficult lesson. But what we're doing, we're saying, oh, I need to come in and rescue you and take your pain away, is we're at least unconsciously sending the message to the person: you are incapable of processing this pain on your own. You're incapable of processing these feelings. Better push them down, or you need someone to rescue you. When somebody has, some strong feelings come up, perhaps they experience them as uncomfortable. I don't like to say bad feelings. Difficult feelings is probably better. Bad is a value judgment. We could say that, if we call every uncomfortable feeling bad, then we're judging our feelings. And sometimes anger is important. Sometimes it's justified. It can be a survival mechanism, right? Fear can help keep us alive. But when these feelings become problematic for us is when we hold them down. And Jung said, what we resist persists. So when we push our feelings down and hold them in place, they never really go away. And so allowing them to come up and holding space for just allowing people to, there's the expression ugly cry if they need to, or just break down in front of us. We hate to see that. It is uncomfortable. We don't like it when our loved ones or anybody we care about is going through a really tough emotional experience. But those emotions will come up and they will pass unless we repress them, unless we hold them down. Emotions are not permanent states. They wax and wane. And when you process, if you think of emotions as like an energy, like electricity stored in a battery, um, when we drain the battery, right, we make room for it to fill up again, and it can fill up with positive things. But if we put, resistance in front of that battery, or we take the battery out of the remote control, um, nothing is flowing out, and so that energy is just held in place. And you can think about humans like that as well. When we hold down our emotions and just don't let them pass through, it causes us damage. It can damage our physical body, our emotional body, and our spiritual self. So start to learn to hold space for people. And a good way to start is when somebody comes to you with a difficult situation, and this happens more or less to everybody, depending upon how useful and helpful you've been in the past. Don't immediately assume that people want you to fix their problems. Okay, so somebody comes to me, I'm having a hard time with my friend, or whatever. Like, wow, that sounds really tough. Tell me more about that. I'll encourage them to talk about it. And if I get in my head, oh, this person is asking for advice, and they haven't actually asked for advice, I'm going to check in with them, and I'm going to say, I want to be the most help for you that I can be right now. Are you looking for advice, or do you want to just sit here and have me listen to you? And I'm really happy to do both. As long as you present it earnestly and not, well, listen, you can take my advice, or um, as long as you are honest about that and earnest, and hold that you're willing to do both, and both are okay, and that it's perfectly fine for this human being in front of you to have a human experience, then that will be, in my experience, extremely appreciated. And a lot of people have never experienced that in their life. They've never experienced somebody who's just willing to be there with them while they process their emotions, while they talk through things, other than in a therapeutic session. So again, this is not therapy. This is not something you have to do. You have to have a license to do therapy. You can listen to a friend. You can listen to your children, or a loved one, or and so listen, hold space. You're creating a safe container for people to, you know, to heal, and they'll heal themselves primarily. This is one of the most healing things you can do for another human being, especially as a layperson who doesn't have, training in trauma intervention or anything like that, is just listen without judgment, without needing to listen, and don't listen to respond. Don't listen to you can reflect on what people are saying. You can empathize with what people are saying. When we sympathize, that's a problem. Oh, that's so hard on you. I feel so bad for you. Sympathy is placing yourself in, an increased position of power over somebody. Like, you poor thing, I'm looking down upon you. And that's not helpful at all. So anyway, give it a try. And I hope you'll subscribe to my channel. Again, you don't have to be a shamanic practitioner to do this. You don't have to be a therapist. This is just something that you can do with your friends and loved ones when somebody is going through a hard time. And we all go through hard times, and we will be better off when people are able to sit with us as we're going through a hard time, witness that without judgment and without trying to fix us. With that, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will talk to you real soon.